This is Don Kissick coming to you from the sprawling metropolis that is Ottawa, Ohio. Now, working second shift, I've not yet had the opportunity to watch part two of the Libertarian Presidential Debate that aired earlier Friday night on John Stossel's program. Hopefully, sometime Saturday evening, I will get the opportunity to do so. You know, family demands and all that fun stuff. But before I do get around to watching it, I want to tackle probably the most contentious part of part one, which aired a week ago, and that, of course, is the infamous wedding cake response that Governor Gary Johnson gave toward the later stages of last week's airing. As the title of this video pretty much spells out, his response really does not bother me at all, and that is due to the simple fact I see this particular topic. In other words, if someone wants a wedding cake baked, can you refuse them on religious grounds? I really see this as falling under the realm of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And I bring that up because I believe that a good deal of us libertarians should understand, we grasp that one of the biggest problems facing our society when it comes to our government at all levels is the inconsistent and unequal application of various laws. And I think it's time that we were consistent and truly equal in applying the Civil Rights Act on this particular issue. Um, I mean, let me illustrate in saying that if we understand that someone trying to enact a policy of straights only for their establishment here in the 21st century is equally as unacceptable as the whites only signs that we saw in America 55 years ago. If we truly understand that these two situations are unacceptable and fall under the provisions of the Civil Rights Act as it was drafted, then this really is kind of a no-brainer. Perhaps, well, I shouldn't say perhaps. I will give you that Governor Johnson's, perhaps choice of words was poor. However, I think in the future, if he wants to assert this as his stance on that topic, I would definitely like to see him invoke the Civil Rights Act and explain how it is applicable between the instances today in comparison to what was going on in the Americas, in particular the Deep South, during the 1960s. At this juncture, I know I want to try and nip perhaps a few people in the bud who may be getting ready to work themselves into a libertarian puritanism lather because I bring up the Civil Rights Act. Doesn't happen a lot, but just enough times to make me want to shake my head. Just because, let's face it, folks, if in America, it is commonly understood that the Civil Rights Act stands as one of the largest milestones in American legislative history. That's the way it has been since it went on the books. It is how it is seen today. And that's not going to change within our lifetimes. Trying to argue against the Civil Rights Act, whether you're invoking pure libertarian theory or trying to question its constitutionality, it's a losing fight. And trying to make that case is one of those areas where libertarians will continue to struggle to be taken seriously in mainstream political discourse. Let it go, set it aside, and accept that there's going to be some degree of statism that seems to creep in, no matter how pure or no matter how aggressive we want to be in shrinking government. And honestly, if we're really that worried about civil liberties, I would have to believe that a far more pressing issue. I mean, here is the wedding cake issue. Here is the whole matter in America of police brutality and the correlation between that and federal law enforcement grants. How the two have kind of fed into each other. Now, I would really like to see John Stossel in the future, or whoever else may be moderating the debates, place greater emphasis on police brutality, like I said, and that correlation with federal law enforcement grants, the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars that go into it, I think this is a far more pressing issue. Um, as far as where Governor Johnson may stand on other areas of civil liberties, let's not forget he continues to receive high marks from the ACLU and other such organizations for where he stands on a number of important issues on the social side of the political spectrum. So don't worry. Um, he most likely will be our nominee. Of course, nothing is set in stone, and I don't want to come across as suggesting that. However, rest assured, he will represent the Libertarian Party well if he is the one to carry the torch after the Libertarian National Convention here in May. So keep the faith, keep fighting for liberty. I know I will, and peace, faith, and liberty may be yours.